I'll begin. So here's an argument that's almost as old as video gaming itself, and that argument is gaming on a computer versus gaming on a games console. I have always preferred gaming on a games console. The problem I have with gaming on computers is the compatibility and the upgrade cycle and all that sort of bullshit. It's ridiculous. Now I have a specific example that's led me on this particular rant today, and that is a game I'm pretty excited about from EA called SPORE. Now SPORE has been getting a whole lot of press all through its development cycle basically. It's produced by Will Wright, who's made some really groundbreaking games. He's the guy responsible for games like The Sims, which just went huge, and it still is huge, and is still making more Sims games than SimCity, and all that sort of, that Sim stuff he's most famous for, and he does make really good games, and SPORE is kind of like a Sim everything, it's been called. I'm not going to go through it, this isn't a review or anything. But it's a really interesting game that I think I would like to sink my teeth into. And so I'm sitting around here and I'm waiting for a video to render. I'm poking around the internet. Oh, hey, that's right. I haven't checked out the SPORE Creature Creator yet, which is a separate little program where you can sort of design your own creature and have a little bit of fun before the game launches. And it's launching in a few days. So I download that and I go to install it on my MacBook. And I get what's called the spinning galaxy of death, in that the game installs, but it doesn't run. It starts up and you just get a background of this galaxy that spins and it does nothing. So I'm Googling around going, hey, what's happening here? And I find out it's the graphics card. Now, I think, hey, that's a bit rough. This graphics card is still in a whole lot of machines out there. And so I do a little bit more research and I find out that if I had Windows installed on my Mac, this game would run perfectly fine. A little bit confusing, hey? Exactly the same hardware, and it will run on a Windows machine, but not on a machine running Mac. And I know this is going to start the debate versus Mac gaming. Macs have never been known for their gaming prowess. There's never been as many games available for the Mac as any other system out there. That's fine. But the fact that this game will run on exactly the same hardware on a Windows machine, but not on a Mac, pisses me off. So I did a little more research, and I find out that the programmers at EA have just been monumentally lazy. A little over a year ago, EA came out and said, hey, we're recommitting to creating our games for the Mac. Problem is, they're not actually writing games for the Mac. What they're doing is writing for the PC and running it through abstraction layers to try and get it to run on the Mac. And that's the problem for the layperson, kind of like emulation. It goes through this layer of software that gets instructions that are meant for a PC and goes, okay, this instructions does this on a PC. On a Mac, we have to spit it out to this instruction. And that's just pure laziness on EA's part. Now, this is just one very specific example, but it's a good example of the just bullshit hardware juggling and having to jump through hoops and all this sort of bullshit just to try and get a game to run on your computer. This is why I game on consoles. This is why I own an Xbox 360, a PlayStation 3, and a Wii, because they just freaking work. You don't have to go through all this juggling and bullshit. And no! On a console, it just friggin' plays. And that's what I want to do with my video games. I want to stick them in the machine, I want to play, and I want to have fun. I don't want to have to spend fucking hours on end trying to work out how to get it to perform better on my machine by tweaking adjustments and upgrading my fucking memory and video cards and adjusting the detail settings and all this sort of crap. So here I said, one of the games I've been anticipating most won't play on the machine I've got. I have two options. Actually, I've got three options. I can just ignore the game completely and not spend my money on EA's merchandise. I can install Boot Camp and run Windows on my Mac. I switched to Mac 2 years ago. I never want to go back to Windows. It's just a completely different world. That's a different debate for a different video. Third option is I can just wait around and see if they eventually bring it out for one of the consoles where I can just buy it and it will work properly. First time, every time. So hey, a big screw you to the lazy programmers at EA. Obviously you don't really care that much about people gaming on their Macs. It's only a 2-year-old machine I've got here. I mean, my MacBook is not lacking in power. I regularly edit high-definition video on this thing without a problem in the world. And yet it can't run frickin' SPORE. Screw you, EA. Consoles have a lifespan of at least 5 years. I buy it once. For the next 5 or 6 years, I don't have to worry about upgrading anything. I can just play my games. If I were a PC gamer, I'd be upgrading and spending more money on hardware on a consistent and regular basis just to be able to play the games I want to play properly. Nah, screw that. Anyone who games on a PC is an idiot with too much money. Ah, well, I was starting to be looking at upgrading the machine anyway. Catch you next time, and game on consoles. It's a much more pleasant experience.